Today, we're diving into a really hot topic: how doctors are using artificial intelligence. And to get right to the heart of it, we're going to kick things off with a hypothetical story that, well, it really lays out the tricky ethical questions we're all facing. So, picture this. You've got a really good doctor, totally dedicated, but they are just drowning. The pressure is on every single day. And it's not just the usual stuff, it's something totally new. Patients are starting to walk into the clinic holding these printouts from their own AI apps, absolutely convinced they've diagnosed themselves with some super rare disease. They're firing off complicated questions, challenging the doctor's judgment, and honestly, the doctor feels like they're always playing catch up. So, in a moment of real pressure, this physician makes a call. You know the saying, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em? He figures if AI is the problem, maybe it's also the solution. He decides he's going to fight fire with fire. He secretly starts feeding his complex and, identifiable patient files into a large language model. He's hunting for those hidden connections, those little details he might have overlooked. And you know what? It works. He actually uncovers a rare diagnosis. But he doesn't tell a soul. Not the patient, not the hospital. The AI is now his silent, secret consultant. And this whole situation just perfectly tees up the central question we're looking at today. It is a massive tightrope walk for doctors. How can they possibly use this incredible new technology to get better, to learn more, without sacrificing that human touch, that core of what medicine is all about? Okay, so the ethical way forward isn't to treat AI like some kind of secret weapon. No, it's about treating it like any other professional medical instrument, just like a stethoscope or an MRI machine. So what does that actually look like? A really solid ethical game plan here really comes down to three key things. First, you use AI to advance medical knowledge, but, and this is critical, only with safe, de-identified data. Second, there has to be a human in the loop. Always. The doctor is the final ethical checkpoint. And third, you've got to be transparent about it. Patients deserve to know what tools are being used to help them. Now, that first step is really interesting, this idea of a de-identified research instrument. So what is that? Well, think of a gigantic, high-quality medical database, something like Mimic. It lets doctors and researchers spot huge trends and risks, like the very earliest signs of sepsis, all without ever uploading a single person's private identifiable information to some public server. It's a game changer. So, as you can probably tell, AI in medicine has two very, very different sides. On the one hand, you have this incredible, immense promise for good, but on the other, there's some serious peril if it's used the wrong way. Let's break down both sides of that coin, starting with the good stuff. All right, let's talk about the promise, because when it's used correctly, AI can be an absolutely powerful partner for any doctor, helping with everything from predicting diseases years before they show up to personalizing treatments down to your DNA. And this slide really nails how. First, pattern recognition. AI is just brilliant at spotting these tiny signatures of diseases like Alzheimer's years before any symptoms appear. Then there's precision medicine, where it can tailor drug dosages specifically to your genetic code. It can also seriously reduce a doctor's cognitive load, handling all the boring data entry, so they can focus on you, the patient. And finally, think of it as a tireless second opinion, available 24/7, that can catch a subtle detail on an X-ray that a tired human eye just might miss. But, and this is a big but, for all of that amazing potential, the risks are just as huge. And we're not talking about simple tech glitches here. These are deep, profound ethical traps that have to be navigated with so much care. The most important thing is just to be aware of these dangers. First up, privacy. Uploading identifiable patient notes to a public AI, that's a massive ethical violation, full stop. Second is bias. If an AI model wasn't trained on diverse data, it can be totally blind to how diseases show up in certain ethnicities, which can lead to really dangerous misdiagnoses. And third, there's this bizarre phenomenon called AI hallucination. Yeah, this is so important to understand. An AI doesn't know anything, not really. It's just predicting the next most logical word. And what that means is it can confidently invent fake medical studies to back up what it's saying. It can even make up dangerous drug interactions that just don't exist. It can sound completely authoritative while being 100% wrong. Which brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important role in this entire conversation. It doesn't matter how powerful the tech gets. Its job is to assist, not to lead. The doctor absolutely must always be in the loop. Ultimately, the buck stops with the human. The physician isn't just a user of this technology. They are its governor. They are the final ethical filter, and they're responsible for every single decision made about a patient's health. So what does that mean in the real world? It means their duty is crystal clear. They have to take every suggestion the AI spits out and test it rigorously. Does this line up with established peer-reviewed science? Does it actually make sense based on their own years of clinical judgment and experience? The AI might give you a clue, but it does not give you the conclusion. You know, as we look to the future, it's not really a question of if we're going to use AI in medicine. That ship has sailed. It's a question of how. AI is an incredibly powerful instrument, right? It could create a beautiful symphony of healing or just a total cacophony of errors. So the final question we're left with is this: who should be the conductor? The answer has to be the skilled, empathetic, and ethically grounded physician.